Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all the honor, the praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Bahakudash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered abroad. Alright, this is the brother Barazal here with a lesson, and Lord willing is edifying. So today I just wanted to get into another lesson through the Spirit, going into prophecy, going into the tensions rising between Israel and Iran. All right, and pretty much we have the least of the flock, also known as Israel. They launched an attack towards Iran, and Iran just sent some missiles back in response. Okay, so we seeing World War III ready to happen before our very eyes. Now you got this guy that you see on the screen, Donald Trump. With Iran, he's trying to resolve things diplomatically. However, that's not what's gonna happen. All right, that's not the spirit that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is coming with. Okay, and as tensions continue to rise, the superpowers who back these countries has to step in, right? Israel's ally being America, and Iran's ally being Russia. Okay, and once that happens, things to turn nuclear. All right, and we'll be in the kind of the climax of World War III. This is pretty much the beginning. All right, so it says Iran and Israel targeted each other with missiles and airstrikes early on Saturday after Israel launched its biggest ever air offensive against its longtime foe in a bid to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. Air raid sirens sounded in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, Israel's two largest cities, sending residents rushing into shelters as successful waves of Iranian missiles streaked across the skies. The military said its air defense systems were operating. In the last hour, dozens of missiles have been launched at the state of Israel from Iran, some of which were intercepted, the Israeli military said. It said rescue teams were working at a number of locations across the country where fallen projectiles were reported without commenting on casualties. It says in Iran, several explosions were heard in the capital Tehran, the semi-official Tasnim news agency reported. The Fars news agency said 2 projectiles hit Tehran's Mirabad airport, and Iranian media said flames were reported there. Close to key Iranian leadership sites, the airport hosts an Air Force base with fighter jets and transport aircraft. Israeli media said a suspected missile came down in Tel Aviv, and a Reuters witness heard a loud boom in Jerusalem. It was unclear whether Iranian strikes or Israeli defensive measures were behind the activity. Yeah. So this is what's going on. As Trump says, not too late. Well, it doesn't matter what happens, right? Biblical prophecy will take place. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah 49:20. Says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom. All right, going into the so-called white man today, which we know biblically are the Edomites. It says, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So the least of the flock, that's going into Amalek. All right, or who you would know as, the small hats today, posing as, the biblical Israelites, which we know are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans today. All right, and you also have, your speckled birds around the four corners of the earth as well. All right, so this is all falling into biblical prophecy, exactly how, the scriptures said it would happen. All right, and we seeing it take place before our very eyes, man. All right, we coming closer and closer unto that day. 2 Peter 3, and we'll start at 9. This is, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. Yeah, the Lord is not slack with his return. Everything is on, the Lord's time, right? And, we know that day is going to overtake, the people as a thief in the night. It's going to be unexpected. The scriptures go into peace and safety and then sudden destruction. All right, so once all hell break loose, all the prophecies just gonna hit back to back to back. World War III, Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, the return of Yahweh Shai. It's all gonna happen quick. Okay, and that day is not slack. All right, concerning His promise. All right, going into the promise, passed down from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Israelites is gonna rule. Have that and go back to their land, right? Because we know that, currently, the true Israelites do not inhabit, the land of Israel today. And it says, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all shall come to repentance. And that's what we are in the highways and hedges, right? Pushing forth these different lessons to call our people to repentance, because that's the only way, for you to be to receive that salvation. All right. To have any type of protection, a hedge, during that day. Okay. Verse 10, it say, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Right. So it's gonna be like that to these people. And even, the men of the Lord, the elect, don't know the day nor the hour. However, they are keeping watch, right, for His return. Being ready for His return, preparing, their spirits, right, for the return of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Okay, and these scriptures is what's gonna give us the that stability in those days. Having the Spirit on us, the comfort of the scriptures, the understanding of the scriptures. All right. It says in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Going into those thermonuclear missiles. All right, going into the destruction that's going to take place in Babylon. All right. Verse 11, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, with manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness. Yeah, because everything is going to be burnt up. All right, we put in all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. We depending on the Lord. You got to detach yourself, from the society. All right, detach yourself from any type of, relationships you may have with, people of the world. All right, because, those people are bound to get judged as well. Everything you work for in this society, you gotta be willing to give it up. You gotta be hastening in the Lord's return. Okay. Verse 12, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And we know that, in the midst of the destruction, right, that's when, of course, the elect gonna be saved. Watching, as this place is getting destroyed, the elect being beamed up, watching, this place go up in flames. All right, inside of the chariots. Verse 13, nevertheless, we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. All right. So that's what we're looking for. A new heaven, a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. That kingdom, establishing that righteous kingdom. Okay. Not staying in this wicked kingdom, wicked society. Everything out of order. Things going against, of course, how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, meant for this place to be. All right, a wicked man in rulership. All right, we looking to be the rulers and establish that righteous rulership. Okay, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, that's gonna be the solution. Okay. First Thessalonians 5:1. But at the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So that's why it's important to keep watch. All right, stay on fire. Right, stay in the spirit, because the Lord can take the spirit away from you. You could get caught up in the judgment that the wicked will receive, that the unbelievers, will receive. Okay. So it's important to keep watch, keep on fire, right? Stay, doing your lessons. Stay in the spirit. All right, stay in the spirit of, hastening in the downfall of this kingdom. All right, but that's pretty much the lesson, Lord, when it was edified. So with that, I'd like to give all the honor and praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Machakodash. So,